Howdy ho, guys and gals. We're going to have a conversation today. This is going to be part of a new series where we do, AKA a fireside chat. I want to do them every Friday if possible. We'll see how schedules go. But what I want to talk about today is the state of tool retail, hardware stores in particular. We've covered, I've been tracking now, I've been doing this channel for 7-8 years at this point. And, a lot of Home Depot, a lot of Lowe's, a little bit of Menards, a ton of Harbor Freight, some Ace, some True Value, and some other small, local hardware stores, as well as the Farm and Ranch, aka Tractor Supply style stores. And, for a long time, everything was kind of a status quo. Harbor Freight around 2016, 2017, they decided to change their game with the good, better, best kind of level, and they started really coming out with tools that were more than disposable. I mean, this channel really started as a way to find the diamonds in the rough over at the old Harbor Freight, and they've since basically kind of pushed that stuff to the side and really come up with some top-tier quality tools. And they've been doing it now for some time. If you've been following the channel, we've been showing you that. But that said, there's a lot more going on in the industry. There's been a lot of shakeup and, like they say in the industry, disruption going on. You got stuff like Flex coming out, and, and every time I see one of these tools launch or somebody's going to a different genre, when Harbor Freight went into, professional grade tools or even prosumer grade tools, when Chervon launched the Flex line of tools, there's a lot of this. A lot of people would like to say, you need to stay in your own lane. You can't do that. That's not allowed. A lot of gatekeeping. And I don't understand where that comes from. I think it's ridiculous, this idea of the consumer telling, retailers and manufacturers that they're not allowed to make those tools. And if you've seen my history on Milwaukee and history on DeWalt and stuff like that, you know why. Because most of these tools that we now consider to be the name brands really are zombie brands that have only been around for the last 20 or 30 years themselves. So they don't really have a claim of, they'll say they're around for 100 years. Not like, my favorite here, my S-Twing here. And yeah, I guess a big thanks to S-Twing for sending me one of their 100th anniversary hammers. And it's going to come into play here. And that's why I've got this here. But, this is truly a company that's been around for 100 years and means something when they say that. DeWalt was a company that made radial arm saws, and they never made handheld power tools or anything like that until, Black & Decker bought them. They merged with Stanley, the whole 9 yards. And this all comes into play with what's going on with Home Depot and Lowe's. Now, if you don't know, let me set this aside. So the number 2 guy at Home Depot got passed over when it came time to appoint a new CEO, and he was a little miffed. So he left, worked some other jobs because he had a non-compete. Sorry about the trucks in the background and stuff, the noise. I see we're here at the RV park in Boulder City, and we come down here, get away from the snow for a few months out of the year, and spend some time with my oldest son who lives down here. Now that said, so this guy, he leaves, he goes, and eventually his idea is he wants to go over to Lowe's. He wants to get the head job at Lowe's, and he bides his time until his non-compete goes away, and he does that, all right? So now he's got the reins at Lowe's, but he's going to run the Home Depot playbook. And I thought for a while there that he was just going to try and basically make Lowe's like Home Depot. And I was like, this is going to be kind of boring, and he's probably going to lose. And he has done that. Now, let me give you a comparison. Here's what we got at Home Depot power tool wise. You've got TTI, and they've got Milwaukee up here. They've got Rigid down here, and they've got Ryobi down here. So you got your good, better, best right there. And then also to the side of it, they also have DeWalt, and they also have Makita. So, they've got 3 top tiers, and they've got a couple, and there's some other miscellaneous stuff thrown in there. They got hand tools and whatnot, but they've been whittling these out and trimming them down and trimming them down and trimming them down. And, but they've had this close relationship with TTI to the point where Milwaukee, all 3 of those are exclusive and can't be sold at other major retailers. I say major, that's a big, you'll see smaller farm and ranch, mom and pop, regional hardware stores that will sell Milwaukee. You'll see that around. You won't see Ryobi, and you won't see Rigid. You can find them online at certain places, but that's neither here nor there. So Lowe's now has done the same thing. A lot of people aren't quite realizing this. So instead of going with TTI, they've gotten in bed with Chevron. They pulled Ego, which is the biggest player in outdoor power equipment going right now. They are the Cadillac. They're the top tier outdoor power equipment. So they pulled them away from Home Depot as part of this getting in bed with Chevron and making Lowe's the home of Chevron. Because if you didn't know this, Cobalt, which is the power tool line that is the brand that's owned by Lowe's, in much the same way that not owned, but Home Depot has the exclusive. You can only get rigid over there. And that was supposed to be that same kind of comparison. And Chevron makes the Cobalt tools for Lowe's. So then you've got, okay, well, that's your direct competitor against rigid. Okay, I can kind of see that. Well, where's their Milwaukee? Well, that's now Flex. And a lot of you all said that Flex was a joke. Flex wasn't going to happen. And I get it. Their infomercials were cheesy, and I wish they'd gone a different route with it. But that said, we told you they were good quality tools. And a lot of people said, oh, everyone talking about Flex tools or shills and whatnot. No one paid us to talk about them. They get to us good tools. They're good tools, and it's proven out now that they're good tools. The performance numbers they put up, the lifetime warranty, just they're killing it. Could there be a bigger line? Yes. There's always caveats of it could be better, and we're not going to go into that minutia, but that's where Flex is going. Flex is going to be, Lowe's Milwaukee. That's what they're trying to make it. They also have DeWalt, all right? But what about Makita? Well, they don't have Makita, but they have Bosch. All right, now, so that's TT. So Chevron has Flex as the Milwaukee killer, and they have Cobalt as the rigid killer. Where's their Ryobi? Well, they're a little lacking in that, but that's the Skill line of tools. That Skill is definitely your DIY level, high-end DIY, low-level prosumer kind of level tools. I'm a huge fan of their 12-volt. Their 12-volt line, entirely brushless. Their 20-volt line has a brushed and a brushless set. I honestly wish they dropped the brushed set and just go with the brushless ones on those. But that's it. That's their competitor to Ryobi over there. So you've got Chevron at Skill, at Cobalt, and at Flex. So there's your three, in-house. Now, they're not as exclusive. You can't get Cobalt anywhere else. And Flex, you can only get somewhere else online. But Skill, there's a couple different places you can buy Skill, but not a ton of them, all right? It's not as exclusive as Ryobi, but it's close. So that's how they're competing. But we're seeing Lowe's go expanding. As I made this joke that they seemed like they're going more farm and ranch, more and farm and ranch. And the reality is they're going more farm and ranch. All right. And it's kind of appropriate because a lot of American society is going more farm and ranch. I know my family's turned around. I grew up in the Midwest, mostly in the cities, but, always on the edge of the cities. I was always the huck fin in the rivers and fishing and going out and doing stuff, and had family who was out there who had farms and whatnot. And then, spent a lot of time, not in the city, as it were. And, got older, and I got, started working in the city, and then I got recruited in the big city, and I did a bunch of stuff. And, the wife and I finally, after we had kids, were like, we can't do this. And so we got out of town, and we fled. We were living in California, and we fled to Vegas. And we did 3 years, I think, here in Vegas. And they were like, we can't do this. And we moved back to Montana, she lived in Montana originally. And so we moved up to Montana, and I haven't been happier, since. I mean, coming down here is nice to get away from the snow and stuff, but like later today, I got to go into town, and I'm dreading it. Anyway, so getting on a tangent. It's Friday night talk. We're just having a conversation, so tangents are going to be a thing. If you like tangents, give us a thumbs up. If you don't like tangents, give us a thumbs down. Anyway, so something else we're seeing, though, is not so much as Lowe's is getting better, and I do believe they are. I think Lowe's is definitely, and I get the chance because I travel back and forth, I get to see everything between here and Montana, and we stop in Idaho, we travel around, we go over to Colorado, we go up to Washington, we're going over to California, God help us. And I always take a chance to locally, when I'm ever to different locality, to stop in and take a look at what the stores are like in those areas. And what I'm seeing is Lowe's is really upping their game. They were very much before just the homeowner, but now they're going the homeowner, farm and ranch, and they're adding the professional. And I'm really liking where the store is going. Home Depot, on the other hand, is really ratcheting down on this mentality of, we're partnered with this company and we're only going to sell what they have. You know, they recently dropped Estwing. You know, as Estwing, by the way, full disclosure, Estwing sent me both of these hammers. And, you know, this one made in the USA. This is their aluminum hammer with the metal heads on it. That's super lightweight and whatnot. I don't believe this is made in the USA. I've always said if it's made in the USA, it'll be, people are damn proud of it and they'll tell you, and this has no markings on it. So I'm going to assume it's not made in the USA. But most of their stuff is, a lot of their stuff is. And, you know, they're a company that's been around doing, you know, traditional manufacturing here in the US. And I like to support that when I can, especially when the price point is pretty much identical. You know, if you look at a Milwaukee or a DeWalt or any of the other, you know, medium high-end hammers, they're going to be in that price range. Now, anyway, but that said, so Home Depot kills off Estwing, gets rid of them. They lost, you know, Ego to Chevron, or Chevron to Lowe's, as it were. And you're seeing them kind of ratcheting down. If you go in the store and you look, they have Makita, but they don't have much. They do have DeWalt, but I'm hearing constant rumors that they're renegotiating with DeWalt, and if they don't get what they want, they're going to kick DeWalt out. And there was a time where I would say that couldn't possibly happen. I could never see them letting go of DeWalt. It's too much of a moneymaker. Yeah, but Milwaukee stepped up enough that they may be willing to just say, you know what, that's not going to happen, and my daughter's just going to walk into shot. She's just going to walk into shot. Did you see that? And here's my son. Oh my gosh, they're making a huge amount of noise. Sorry about that. Real life here. Real life. Anyway. Well, the point, actually, let's go back to what I said, is that I couldn't see that happening before, but with Milwaukee ratcheting up, getting to the point where they're at, I can definitely see them going, you know what? Maybe we're going to do that, because DeWalt's losing ground in a lot of cases. You know, pack out, they really can't match Milwaukee when it comes to pack out. They've definitely woken up. They were, you know, kind of the sleeping dragon that everyone was poking and making fun of, and then they finally woke up and came out with some real tools, and we're thrilled to see that. The new Atomic line, I think that's great. The Extreme 12-volt line, that's fantastic. The new Impacts and all this, I think it's great. The Flex Volt, of course, is a fantastic line of tools. Yeah, I wish the customer service would match, because Milwaukee's definitely killing them in customer service. But, you know, the rigid line, that's something they've been sleeping on. People are like, oh, well, you know, you're wrong. They've come out with all these new tools. They're not new tools. They're just AEG tools that they've decided to rebrand and sell here. They've been making those tools for a while. That's not new innovation kind of stuff. I'm not super excited about it. They did have some stuff that was stepping up, and then it got too close to Milwaukee and it got smacked back down. They do have some good tools in there. I'm not saying the tools aren't good. I'm just not saying that they're not leading edge. You know, Ryobi's coming out with new and exciting tools. Milwaukee's coming out with new and exciting tools. Ridge's giving you tools that everyone else has had for the last 3 years. That's not new and exciting. They're just now getting outdoor power equipment. That's not something to brag about, folks. All right, and the reason for that, for those of you who don't know, is that TTI doesn't own the brand Rigid. They license it from Emerson, and Emerson could yank that license at any point and give it to somebody else. So they don't want to invest a lot into it, all right? And I'll be honest, in this day and age, there's an argument to be said that the middle prosumer brand is becoming less relevant, because the entry-level stuff is getting so good. If you look at the high-end Ryobi, the HP Ryobi, it's like, why would I invest in Rigid? I mean, don't get me wrong, I hate the Ryobi battery system. It's clunky. I know why they've stuck with it, but is it something, I think at some point they just need to be like, you know what, we got to switch. I mean, that's what they've done with Hart. Hart is basically Ryobi with a better battery system. Anyway, that aside, let me know what you think down below, because I'm worried about Home Depot. I think Home Depot may kind of have the bit in its teeth, thinks that they know better than the consumer, and they're getting rid of options. I'm seeing all these options going away. I think it's only a matter of time until Channel Lock gets the boot. They're getting a smaller and smaller and smaller portion of shelf space over there. I'm seeing a lot of brands pushed out of there, and it's becoming just Husky, Crescent, aka Apex, who also I think makes the Husky tools. And the power tools, you're going to have, you know, the TTI, the 3 brands from TTI, and a smidge of Makita, and DeWalt may just go away. I don't know. Let me know what you think. If you got any more information to add, put it down below. If you have another topic you think we should cover for one of our Friday fireside or not fireside chats, let me know. Put it down below. I'd love to hear what you had to say about it. That's my thoughts right now. Now, Menards, I could talk about Menards, but I don't, because I know it's the 3rd largest tool company or tool retailer in the U.S. I don't get to be near one really anytime. They're just not out west, and I really wish they were. If you don't know what a Menards is, imagine a Home Depot, imagine a Lowe's and a Walmart mashed together. That's what it is. It's awesome. I love them. They're great stores. Also, make sure you hit the subscribe button, because there's another player that's going to be entering the game this spring. And I know you're like, not another one, because of course these people are like, you know, well, we can't, I don't understand. It's like more tool companies means better competition, which means better innovation, which means better pricing. And that's a good thing. And so I don't, you know, let them try, let them take a swing. If they can knock the top guy off the top rope there, off the top of the rung, as it were, then great. You know, good on them. Then we got a better tool and hopefully a better pricing. For me, I'm honestly brand agnostic. You know, I'll buy with the tool company that provides the best tool, best value for the best buck. I mean, and I'll try to be honest. I always do try to be honest. Like, you know, when I am kind of a fan bearer about stuff, you know, like S-Twing, I admit that, you know, I've got some history with this. First hand tool, you know, as an adult out on my own in the construction trades, first thing I bought was an S-Twing hammer, and I love that hammer, and I still do. And, you know, so, but I'll try to be honest with you and upfront with you about that. So hopefully you can be honest and upfront then about the tools that are out there and what we're looking at, what we're seeing, and hopefully we can get a good grasp on what's going on with the industry. Anyway, that's all I got for you today. You have a great weekend. You take care. God bless. And as always, shine on.